Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another recording of Hearthstone. The new expansion is here, so we have a Win 10 standard games and play mode to get a new hero skin, and we also have two other daily quests to do, such as win 3 games with Druid and Hunter, or win 3 games with Priest or Warlock. So we're on our Asian account. Tavern Brawl's already done. This ends in 2 days, so we won't have to deal with that until somewhere around, I guess, Monday, since today is Friday the 13th of April. So I was able, sort of, I can't call it successfully. I was able to use the hsreplay.net to put in one deck for the Asian account that is the best potential deck I could have, kind of, per hero. So these are the decks that HS Replay, of the decks they track, which arguably I think maybe they don't track enough, and I think when you look at this you're going to see that we're going to have some problems. And of course, the bug that marks new cards as new over and over again is still very much in effect. This might be Hearthstone Deck Tracker that causes that bug, but I don't think so. We're down to 80 gold, we couldn't afford anything. So, when we click play here, here's what you're going to realize. I actually only have all the cards for Tempo Mage, which is fine if I need to win for Tempo Mage. And I guess I could go and do just like the basic recipe. We need, for instance, here Druid and Hunter. So let's start with Druid and Hunter. Hand Druid is here. This is the closest deck I have to play Hand Druid, and I'm missing all of these. Now this is on standard play, but it doesn't really get any better, I think, to play on Wild on my Asian account. That seems pretty ridiculous. So we have to replace things. We have a 2-mana spell here that says add a 3/2 Trent. So instead we'll take that. We have a 3-mana 2/1 where we could go with a 3/3/1, or 3/1/6. So we'll take that as a replacement. And we have a 3-mana 3/4 at a random 2-cost minion. Part of the problem with HS Replay right now is they're suggesting some cards that are brand new. Let's see, 3-mana 3/3, and swap the attack and health roll on minions. I'll take that. And so we're having to make some pretty different decisions. Interesting that the pick a replacement 2 offers are either 0, gain a mana crystal, or 5, summon 3/2/2 Trends. Let's see. We have a 4/4/1, gain +1 health for each card in your hand. So, do we want this? Or do we want this? I think I'm going to take this. Next card, we have a 4/4/1, and I guess maybe there was 2 of these. So I'll take Mind Control Tech, sure. Here we have a summon a 1/1 Wisp for each card in your hand, versus just gain some mana. And so we'll do that. And so we're really putting our faith here into some weird cards that you normally wouldn't put your faith into. And here we have a 12, costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. So this deck was built around that idea a lot. So, like, a lot of faith being put into Hearthstone right now just to get that deck to work. That was the Druid. Let's look at the Hunter now and see what we can replace. Mid-range Hunter is pretty consistently what they're recommending that I play to get victories. So instead of Wandering Merchant, we could do Explosive Shot. Instead of that, we could do Unleash the Hounds. Instead of this, we could do either this or this. Let's go ahead and take it, I guess. And we'll take that. So not as much changing there to get that deck to work. And then we need Priest and Warlock now. And so Priest we need to replace. Spells cost 1 less. We'll take that instead. Let's see. At the end of your turn, give a minion +1/+1. We'll take Knife Juggler instead. Give a minion +2/+2. Gain another bonus. I'll take Holy Nova instead. Who's to say if any of these recommendations are good or not? However, it could be that they're just giving me 2 little random cards, and then Warlock was the last one. And we won't be fixing the other decks until at least Monday when we have a reason. I will take that card because I hate that card, and if I hate it, lots of people are going to hate it. And I'll take that card because that's a very good card. And so we're close to see Warlock. And so then that should fix it. So now we can play Druid, Hunter, Priest, and Warlock. 4 more decks that need to be fixed. The Witchwood solo player expansion. Let's see, it's not even here. Like, it showed up and then it went away. Interesting. It's on the Americas account saying arriving in 2 weeks, but it's not on the Asian account. Alright, well, let's hop into this Druid and Hunter. Since mid-range Hunter is probably the closest one to a victory, we're playing rank 23. We're good to go. We're really playing for wins. Now, on the news side, because of all of the extra recording I've done, the looking at all the cards, the card pack opening video, 150 card packs, which was a little bit, it wasn't 150 plus Witchwood card packs really, it was a lot closer to maybe 100 packs of different variety plus 50 packs of the new Witchwood, which I'm very happy with that decision because I did not like any of the Witchwood cards, but it didn't really help me make any of these decks. You'll also see on the European account it's the exact same scenario. Nearly all 9 of the hero classes, there isn't a recommendable deck on HS Replay, and that seems crazy. It might be because of a lack of statistics. Maybe more people need to use Hearthstone Deck Tracker for it to work better, because I think Hearthstone Deck Tracker reports your decks back to HS Replay, and you can turn that option off if you don't want it to. But yeah, as it is, I'm gonna play these and then do this in the hopes of getting exactly that. So yeah, because of all of the extra work I've been doing. I went through a lot of the games that came out on Steam that are just bad games and closed those tabs. But we still have a significant amount of news to cover today. And since we're looking at a desire to get at least 3, but actually 10 victories, yeah, like there's an issue here already. It's just before we even start, there's an issue with how many victories we're gonna have to get on the European and Asian accounts, and then I'll probably have to cheat it on the Americas accounts. It's gonna be a lot of work today. The file's still playable. With Witchwood and Year of the Raven, it's mostly the fact that Year of the Raven has blocked and gotten rid of so many of the expansions. With that having happened, standard play is going to be pretty boring. No more crazy strategies, it seems. I couldn't see any. Maybe people will find some new crazy strategies, and I just don't see them. That is totally possible. But it seems like it's going to be pretty boring. I'm just going to take Divine Shield and kill this guy. And then do this. Geez, if I was gonna play Void Lord, I should have done something there, shouldn't I? Just go ahead and attack. And then in the turn, Tragic Masters on the chat, and you said I can help cheat on the American server. Absolutely, if you're still around. I'd much prefer to play my fans than play my secondary account. Which, my secondary account I don't do anything with, so it got 3 free card packs and 1 legendary for Witchwood, and that's all my secondary account did, and I'm more than okay with that. The Banner Saga 3 is coming out on the Xbox One and PS4 in July. It's kind of strange because Banner Saga 1 came out in 2014, so in 4 years they've made 3 games, which is a little too much. Not enough of a break there. I never really got around to playing the Banner Saga, and now I'm looking at an entire trilogy of games. It's due to launch July 24th in US and 27th in Europe. There's going to be a trilogy bundle. So yeah, I guess that's alright, but that is a blow to morale, I would say, a little bit, because I just wanted to play that game, and they've made 2 sequels in the same time. HSReplay.net, it might be a good Twitter feed to follow if you play Hearthstone. They tweeted out, like, what are some decks that people are playing Baku the Moon Eater with? Baku the Moon Eater is the card that, if your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power at the start of the game. And so they put out a special article showing this is what people are playing right now that works with Baku the Moon Eater, which is interesting because certainly would be rather difficult for me to figure out a way to build a deck with only odd cards. They also had a different article, let's see, called the Meta Post, April 13th, the Witchwood Day 1, and it shows the, like, a breakdown that apparently, according to hsreplay.net, Paladin is #1 for the first day at 58.4% win ratio, then Warlock, then Hunter, then Priest, then Druid, then Mage, so that puts Mage at 6th, Rogue, Warrior, and Shaman. Shaman is at a low 43.0% win ratio. The This image is a little bit smaller, so let's go and draw a card. People are playing Hunter class #1, so any kind of hunter cards, 17.2%. Then they're playing Shaman, then they're playing Warlock, then they're playing Mage, they're playing Rogue, then they're playing Priest, Paladin, Warrior, and Druid. And only like 4.3% of people were playing Druid. So a big difference there between what you what people were playing and what was actually winning. The top decks for April 13th, and I'm just going to name them so you can look them up on HS Replay, was Even Paladin, Cube Warlock, Spiteful Priest, Secret Mage, and Tempo Rogue. All 5 of which were new decks. So those are the meta decks that you'd want to play, and that's about as much as Hearthstone information as I'd like to get into, because I'd prefer to just move on to other stuff. Let's see. Tragic Master says Shaman's low win rate could be explained by the fascination with Shutter Walk. People just playing Shaman-y to give it a shot. Well, certainly on the first day, I imagine there's just going to be a bunch of noobs playing everything and trying things, and there's going to be a bunch of crazy stuff regardless, and it's going to be a while, I'd say at least 5 days, before we start to see any kind of consistency or real strategies come out. Gamasutra has an article that saying the game A Way Out has sold over 1 million copies in 2 weeks, which is interesting because it's not like the game is very highly rated. It has a little bit of interest, but not as much as I would say Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons had, and frankly the game doesn't sound that good, so selling over 1 million copies might be that they got some lucky sales because there wasn't very much competition when they came out, and on the long end, a year from now, they may be struggling to approach 1.5 million sales. Let's see. I do have to hand it to HS Replay's decks here. At the very least, they do feel like they're giving me more options than a deck I would build. We don't, I believe, have any daily quests today. I'll have to double check, but I don't think we're going to have any daily quests that aren't built around victories. And so anything, if there are any more daily quests at all that are built around not doing victories, and then instead are built around something like playing secrets or pirates or murlocs or anything like that, we'll have to see what those are worth and how often they show up. If all daily quests now are built around victories, that's going to be a little annoying, no? Let's see, PC Gamer has a article, Manage Monster Pulse and then inevitably get eaten in Lobotomy Corporation. Let's see, is this a game? It kind of looks like a visual novel, but does this have a release date and where is it? It's like, it officially launched on Steam, and it was in early access on 2016. Alright, let's go ahead and attack here. Let's see what trick this does. What was that legendary card? Face Collector. Hey look, the little skulls disappear after a while. Echo it. Add a random legendary minion to your hand. So let's look at this game. Lobotomy Corporation is rated very positive, 86% of 300 user reviews in 30 minutes in 30 days. I think we've already talked about this game. I think it's already on my wish list. I've hit a point where Steam is logging me out of Chrome every single time, so like trying to see if something's on my wish list has become impossible. Alright, well, there's an endorsement from PC Gamer for a game called Lobotomy Corporation. It's a indie simulation management horror game with gore. It seems like it's probably something like Fallout Shelter with a horrific, gory twist to it. So yeah, I like that kind of crazy game. So speaking of other games on Steam, there's one called Loader that came out April 10th and is 30% off for 69 cents. It looks like a student project. I think that's in an effort to speed up things. That's where we're going to have to leave a lot of reviews, as it looks like a student project. Let's do this. And then do this. And do that. So, yeah. Loader is a terrible name for a game. This looks like a terrible game. It looks like a box pushing game. So I'm just going to close that and move on. Level X is hiring for a technical art director. So if you want to work for Level X out of Chicago, Illinois, let's see what Level X is. Let's see. Level X is a well-funded medical gaming startup. Let me look at their website. So if it's a startup, it looks like it's a interesting. It looks like it's for cell phones. But it also seems like it is a game. And maybe a training game. And you might make some money doing that, certainly. Like if you can convince colleges to spend money on things like that on software. Although I don't really get why this would be a like end user software. There was a Japanese game where you did something like this. The video I'm looking at, by the way, is people removing polyps on the back of a throat. So you're endoscoping somebody's throat and going down their vocal canal and doing just that. Let's see, they apparently have a game called Airway EX and Gastro EX and Cardio EX and Pulmonary EX, which are all kind of the exact same game. It's an interesting idea, but they've got the wrong market and the wrong platform. There almost certainly is a already existing game out there like this that hooks up to a dummy's head that students work on to get the feel of it, and the physical feel is exactly what you're not going to have doing something like this. Okay, let's go ahead and kill this and then kill this and then kill this. And then in a turn. So, interesting. interesting little company, but not probably not going to be as successful as they think. Much like I'm not being very successful right now. Well, I guess we need to give up on playing ranked right now. We need to just play casual and see if we can get victories a little bit easier. Every second's going to count. Let's see. This. And then this. Minions +1 attack. Do I want 6 armor? The first Sea of Thieves content update is coming in May with a new AI threat. But the real story about this Sea of Thieves content update, which is probably too little too late, I think people have already checked out. The main thing is the client update will be 19.53 gigabytes. So you're talking a good percentage of a 25 gigabyte Blu-ray, which you only do that if you have not programmed your game correctly. Okay. Let's kill this and do that. I guess I shouldn't have killed that, but whatever. I guess if he's out of secrets at this point, maybe I could beat this guy down. So, like a huge update for Sea of Thieves. Meanwhile, I don't know how many people will even bother to download it. Next game we have on Steam is called Nicky the Home Alone Golf Ball. What's interesting about this game is that its backgrounds look rather like, well, they look a little bit realistic. So you're playing as this like golf ball that can make itself explode in different directions at arcing angles, trying to get to different areas. Let's see. Summon a random one cost of pin. If I play this, I die. If I do this, nothing great happens. So we have to do this. Play this card, which then can let me draw a card. I probably should have played that card first, come to think of it. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's look at this game some more. It looks like a real game. It's a bad name. Certainly, it's the only game from this developer. They're asking for $5.99. It's in English and Portuguese, so this feels like it might be just a Portuguese developed game. I can't immediately dismiss this one. So many you can, but this came out the 13th. It has no user reviews, but it kind of looks like it might be something to play. It's not going to be amazingly great. You are just playing as this ball that is working around maps, exploding himself. It doesn't seem like you can walk at all. And you're working around some interesting mechanics, like he's exploding himself through a ceiling fan that's spinning, so sometimes he's bouncing on the fan blades. So it's time to just go the casual and just play. We just need victories so badly right now, it doesn't make sense to struggle with that. Marvel Strike Force developer Fox Next is running a campaign to donate as much as $50,000 to Frankie's Friends, a pet-centric charity that aims to cover the cost for life-saving animal surgeries. I am not 100% sure, like, why you would donate specifically to an animal charity. Like, that works for most people. Most people do like animals, but I think you could probably give to some better known, better trusted charities like Red Cross and get more coverage. Again, this is really an issue where you shouldn't give money to companies so they can get write-offs for their donations to charity, which is effectively what this is. And who knows what kind of kickbacks or scheme is running in the background with Fox Next, if there is anything. You'll never find out. Like, the thing is, the developer is running an event alongside Guardians of Galaxy actor and former professional wrestler Dave Bautista. So maybe Dave Bautista specifically insisted on this charity. That might explain it. And they pledged to donate up to $50,000 depending on how many views a 1 minute long promotional video receives. So it's almost, but they're not saying what the ratio is there. So if it gets a million views, they may go, oh, actually it needed 2 million views for us to give 50,000. This seems not honest right at the front, and it definitely is an advertisement. Like, let's see, a 1 minute long promotional video is effectively an advertisement. So how much extra income do you think a 1 minute commercial gets you to the point where it's over $50,000? Let's see. It would have to be over 50,000 views. It would probably have to be over 500,000 views. I would probably guess they want 5 million views before they give $50,000, just to recoup that $50,000 and profit off of it. If I was just to roughly guess, if I got 5 million views, for instance, on one of my videos, probably would get me $5,000 at most of ad revenue. So take that for what that is. I could be wrong. The numbers certainly could change a little bit. Let's see, what do I want to do? Battlecry adaptive friendly beast, can't do that, so best I can do is do this, I guess, and do this, and then do this. Moving on to the next article. In what sounds very surprising to me, PC Gamer has an article that a new Bioshock game is reportedly in the works at a top secret 2K studio. The new game is apparently in the early stages of development. And the let's see, the article says, buried within a lengthy Kotaku story on the current less than ideal state of things at Mafia 3 developer Hangar 13 is an interesting tidbit about another 2 game you may have heard of. The report says the top secret studio located next door to Hangar 13 is currently in early stages of the work on a brand new Bioshock game. So there's a lot to question here as far as what is a new Bioshock game going to look like or be. Like, is it something that is completely off the wall like Bioshock Infinite, or have they learned their lessons, and is this just going back to Rapture for a third time? And is it just going to be maybe slightly better than Bioshock 2? Like, it's probably not going to top Bioshock 1, and it's going to have to take some step backs from some of the things that were added in Bioshock Infinite on top of that. And I don't see where you go with this. The rough theory was Bioshock 1 was a commentary. I break it down as Bioshock 1 was a somewhat well thought commentary on Ayn Randian, extreme libertarian, capitalistic views, so that are capitalistic views specifically from an author like Ayn Rand, who came out of a communist country and had such a grudge against the communist country she was in that she was literally worshipping capitalism in her books like The Fountainhead and I think, what was the other one? The famous one. Well, whatever. And then in the second game was the idea of taking Rapture, which was created originally as this extreme libertarian capitalist society, and then converting it into a religious communist society, which isn't a successful communist society whatsoever. Or maybe you would say it was a socialist society, because, yeah, I guess it would be more social society in the second game, because it seems like the government figurehead was controlling all of the assets, where I would say Infinite is probably more of the communist society, because that's an extreme religion, and it's a weird thing because it doesn't tell its story very well, as far as sticking to, is this a commentary on a socio-economic theory, or is this a commentary on religions of different kinds? Because effectively there was religious devotion to Ayn Randian libertarianism in the first game, religious devotion to the Little Sisters in the second game, and a socialist economic system that was barely touched upon, in my opinion. And then there was obvious and extreme religious devotion to the main bad guy in Bioshock Infinite. So what do you do next? Like do you, I guess since we won, we'll just stick with this. Do you continue down this path and try and argue for like some kind of society that has fallen apart for some other reason? Because really, we don't have a definition for a third type of economic form. Like there are slight variants and slight interpretations on how things should work, but it all basically boils down to, do you believe individuals should own most property? Do you, I guess in pure capitalism, individuals own all property? Or do you believe that the government should own all property? Or do you believe that the government should legislate who owns all property, which is kind of what socialism would be, as kind of the middle ground between capitalism and communism? All of the governments were fascist governments. It's based on my own definition of fascism. Like, they are all one-party systems, effectively. So you could try to put in democracy, republic, electorate systems like that into the next BioShock, but that's just going to be a very confusing thing. Like, democracy would be the most interesting thing you could do in BioShock, is having it where everybody votes all the time on everything. Like, they had some kind of machine on them at all times, and people would turn on you or support you based on your actions. That'd be kind of cool. But that's kind of it. If you went with a republic or electorate like the United States is, where there's electors and people that represent other people, then you would have at least a list of people that you would try to either kill or turn to your side in a game format. So unless they do something really crazy, which I kind of want them to do something really crazy, I feel like if they do make a new BioShock game, it's really just going to be a continuation of Rapture. It really just has to. You can move it further in time, move it a little bit further in the future, but you can't move it too far, otherwise it's to that System Shock. And if System Shock is the futuristic version and the predecessor of BioShock, so you can't do that. You could send it back in time, I guess, to pre-1950s era, but I don't think that works too well either. Like, I don't know what you really get from that. Yeah. It's hard to justify having a city under the sea or floating in the air. So if you go back in time, so then you'd have to just have a city on the ground, which is fine, or floating on the sea, which would be fine too. That concept may not even be a concept that's continued. Yeah, so much of BioShock though was ruined by Infinite. I don't know how you go back and make another one. Let's see. I want to scroll down a little bit more in this article because I do love BioShock. The idea of a new game is an intriguing little fantasy, but I would have thought saner, more reasonable people would have said no. But then again, I guess this is also probably not Ken Levine. It's probably not 2K game. It's probably not Ken Levine, but instead 2K Games pushing another BioShock game. And so it's probably similar to the team that made BioShock 2. And they're probably not going to get too crazy. And they're probably just going to hopefully have bigger levels, better levels. Perhaps, I don't really want a much larger number of weapons or much larger a variety of bullets. In fact, you could probably smooth that down. Having regular bullets, armor piercing bullets, flame bullets, and like what was it? There was electric bullets for every single gun was kind of complicated for a game that was mostly just about running and gunning. I'd want something like a Big Daddy, something strong and that was a roaming boss that really had something were fun little encounters, and BioShock 2 didn't do as good of a job as the first game, which sucks because the big sister character was certainly an opportunity to make Big Daddies even stronger. I never really played BioShock on the harder difficulties. It's not super surprising that they would do this since they did the remasters. The article says it's been 5 years since BioShock Infinite came out, which is, I guess, right on the time. Even if you ignore the fact that Ken Levine left Irrational Games and created Ghost Story Games, and they're about to announce a completely different game. So if this rumor is true, I look forward to seeing how they can do it in any way, with like bigger levels, stronger enemies, faster speed, an interesting story, because you've got to get an interesting story in there. If they make a BioShock game and it's just the most boring experience you could imagine, then that would probably kill any chances of them making another BioShock game ever, at least for another decade. And I don't know how you fix that and ensure you get an interesting story, unless you just redo Andrew Ryan. Since you have the whole alternate universe things, you could have maybe Andrew Ryan as the good guy this time, and like I don't know what else you would do. There's have Andrew Ryan as the good guy, and let's kill this guy. Well, I'm gonna lose if I do this, but whatever. That was completely unnecessary to attack there. That was a bad move. No two ways to look at it. You could try to explain the craziness of BioShock and how they got to a world that was so willing to turn people into splicers. Because that's kind of just... there's a lot of backstory in the audio dialogues about it, but there's also a missing amount of reason and logic there too. The idea of people using drugs to splice themselves up and not batting an eye about doing that, to the point where they start turning into drug addicted monsters, is not super realistic. Although drug addiction is real and people do it all the time, and they don't even get magical powers out of it. But yeah, very intriguing. I look forward to more news, if there is any more news, and this isn't just somebody shooting their mouth off. Meanwhile, Mafia 3, big failure of a game. The Mafia series never been super successful. This, and then this. Next article, Epic apologizes for Fortnite downtime with free goodies. So if you're playing Fortnite, you probably, let's see, you're gonna get free goodies. Which is certainly, I guess, the right way to apologize for downtime on a video game. So So PC Gamer has this article: Strip Fortnite is the latest in lazy exploitation on YouTube, not safe for work. Smash that thumbs up for that one kill, one female Viagra. Oh, let's see. Let's see. YouTubers put on an absurd amount of clothing and then either watch a pre-recorded ninja stream or a loud person in the room play Fortnite, typically removing one article of clothing with each kill until they approach take a breath preteens. The possibility of nudity only to start plucking away at smaller and smaller bits of their wardrobe like shoelaces and socks and hairpins to stay safely within YouTube's nudity and sexual content guidelines. I don't think that's going to work on YouTube, frankly. Like, I think just the implication and pretending like you're just seductively removing articles of clothing probably violates YouTube's nebulous guidelines. Interesting. So here we have several screenshots I'm looking at of Fortnite players trying desperately to get views. This is the world we've come to. I imagine this is also not really an article that should have been written. Like, PC Gamer found 3 screenshots and 3 instances of something that's not happening very often, I would suspect, because I haven't seen any of this myself. I thought this was going to be more like Elsagate, where people were animating Fortnite characters to and having them take off articles of clothing, but it's not even that. It's just laziness. Even lazier than that. This does point out a fact that probably should be on every website or just on internet browsers by default. If a preteen, teenager, anybody, any kid whatsoever is searching these kind of contents, there needs to be like a detector that says, it seems like you're trying to find out about sex. How about we push you to an educational site so you learn good scientific evidence and education about sex, instead of you just trying to find, you're trying to watch things that are just not going to be entertaining or informational for you. Like, honestly, Wikipedia is a great resource if you want to see nudity and learn about sex. If you just search specific terms, and there are several other websites that are out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like, there was one a long time ago that was just run by basically a guy, like just a guy who may have been a teacher, a guy who was just trying to be honest and educational, and kids would send in conversations, and it would just be like if you were asking somebody in the newspaper who you know, sitting in the letters and asking, in what was it, Ask Nancy was a famous news article or something like that. And that website kept growing and growing, and to the point where it certainly helped answer questions, and it showed that most kids had the exact same questions that weren't getting answered. And then that was just an all-text website for the most part. Maybe 20 images on it in total, because it was such an old website that it was basically a forum. Well, moving on. That's gonna be it for this recording. We're not making any progress. I think we're gonna have to try something different. Let's try to make a Druid and Hunter classic deck. Just basic classic recipe next time, and see how well that works in 45 minutes. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. When you subscribe, please click that notification bell. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, gift me a game or a gift card on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.